The Civil War has started. Hey everybody, this is Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. Hot topic today. Been so recently. Why is it, and why do I say that it's started? I say this because we have really been in a civil war for a long time now. And I'll tell you what, one side has been winning because the other side hasn't really been doing much about it. Silent majority type stuff. Well, I'll tell you what, it's time to be the silent majority no more. It's time to be the vocal majority. The agenda of division, dividing us, the attacks on our freedoms, on our liberties, the moral degradation of society. This is all part of the war. It just hasn't become a shooting war yet, but it might well soon become. We hear, and we don't know if it's part of this, leading up to this, or if it has some other agendas, ramifications, reasons, the attacks on our power grid. That may be people on one side or the other trying to step it up a notch, trying to push us in a certain direction. Or this one, what about if they are false flags performed by agencies to get people spun up and or cause problems so that it pushes us in that direction, so that they can further distract us, get us fighting each other, and then step in and try to end it. If it goes kinetic, meaning two-way range opens up, things are not going to be pretty. Things will get really ugly fast. I've heard a lot of discussion from both sides of the equation, pretty much meaning the left and the right, about who would win a civil war, since those are the predominant two sides, the left and the right. I've heard compelling arguments from both sides, but what it comes down to is, no matter what, it wouldn't be pretty, it would not be fun, it would not be Call of Duty, out there running around being cool guy. It would not be. It would be ugly, it would be horrible, and we'd probably lose our nation in the process. Maybe it would lead to balkanization, which is the splitting up of the United States. So it wouldn't be one big country anymore. It would be multiple smaller countries, which I've kind of gone back and forth about that, whether I feel that's a positive or a negative. Because our country is so big that it's really hard for a governing body way on one coast to determine everything for everybody else. Yes, we're supposed to have a representative government that's supposed to represent the people. But even they, where do they come from? They come from the big cities. They don't represent the little guy. They don't represent the farmers. They don't represent the preppers, the homesteaders, all the people that live rural, farmers, ranchers, all that stuff. They represent the city people. So city people get representation. The rest of us don't. And that's a fact. Whether they're Democrat, Republican, it really doesn't matter. Neither one of them are doing really much good anyway. So yes, I see this potential for de-evolving into an armed conflict. I don't want it. I don't advocate for it. Nothing of the sort. Before I go any further, talking about this more in depth, I would like to ask you guys to please subscribe. Hit that thumbs up, ring the notification bell for all, share the videos, comment below. If you want to be part of the solution, I recommend you be gathering, acquiring, ordering all these freedom seeds that you can. And like I mentioned, getting your gear squared away. Any gear you might need, we're headed into winter, so think about that. Do you have adequate boots and socks and layering systems? All the things that will help you, enable you to get out in that stuff in the dead of winter in the worst weather conditions and actually function to a level where you can be an asset to this whole thing, not a liability. You can't get out in that stuff and realize then that your footwear is not adequate, that you're cold and you're freezing and your gear's falling apart because you bought cheap gear, or you brought too much because you thought you needed all this stuff when actually you didn't. Ounces equal pounds, pounds equal pain. It's a very important thing to remember. Oh, here's another thing I forgot to mention. If you see that you might be in this role, if you think you might, if you plan on being in a role of Minuteman type stuff, fighting the good fight if and or when it ever comes, then you need to have a group of people around you. You can't do it alone. You can't be out there all run around the woods by yourself, saying, I'm going to fight a civil war or a revolution 2.0, whatever. No, you can't. You have to have your group. You need to be training with your group regularly. You need to be getting to know each other, how each other moves, how each other operates, communicates, all that stuff. Shoot, move, communicate. You need to be training on all these skill sets, like hit and run tactics, reaction to contact, patrolling, all this stuff. You need to be practicing it and training it out in the stuff, in the bad weather, with your gear, hopefully doing maybe even overnighters, so that you can learn how much food to bring, how much water to bring, your layering systems, like I mentioned, your sleep systems. Are they effective or not? You don't want to be getting out there and finding out when things are really bad that they're not effective. You got to get that stuff hammered away and figured out now, before the need arrives. Just like training. You can't wait to start training until the war starts. Soldiers don't start training when the war starts. They train for years and years and years and years before it starts. And they do it full time. So remember that. We don't have full time to do it. We're preppers, we're husbands, we're fathers, we're wives, we're mothers, we're gardeners, we're homesteaders, we work jobs, all these different things. We need to make it a priority, though, to get in good quality training and to form good quality groups with good people. One thing I'd like to talk about is the delusion I feel that both sides have, that people on both sides suffer from. They think, along the lines of Call of Duty, they watch tactical videos, they have all this cool gear and cool, defensive tools and stuff, and they think it's just going to be like going for a Sunday walk, and popping bad guys, and everything is going to go the way they want it to, and nothing's going to go wrong, and all that stuff like that. These people have never experienced fighting on their own soil, fighting for their homes, their houses, their neighborhoods. They haven't thought about the fact that they may be in an engagement with their neighbors, with the people around them. They don't think about that. They don't think of the furthering, the ramifications and the repercussions from such an action. Like I said, I do feel that we might be headed in that direction. I hope not, but the way things are going, I really don't see any other way. I'm not saying it's going to be imminent. It may take a while, but it's building up. It's been building up for a long time. A lot of people are getting fed up and mad and angry and sick of the system and disgusted with a lot of things. With that said, we shouldn't want this to happen. We shouldn't look forward to it. We shouldn't desire it to happen, because it won't be pretty, people. But we need to be aware of what's going on around us. We still need to prepare for it, because if we don't and it happens, we'll be SOL. If we do and nothing happens, so what? We enjoyed ourselves. We got some good quality training, enjoyed ourselves, and hopefully became more proficient at our birthright, which is the second, and defensive tools. That's very important. We need to return to the fact of every American a rifleman. We need to get training now. We need to get our gear squared away. We need to actually use our gear and be ready and willing and able to make a positive difference, to bring morality back to our country, to be there when and or if needed. Like I said, I hope not. But I want to be on the right side of things. I want to be a power for good and for Him. I think our country needs people of that mindset that are trained and are ready and willing to make a stand when and or if necessary. Get your fitness. Better be working out. If you think you're going to go into some kind of tactical environment, not fit, well, you're not going to last long. So get your fitness down. Your physical fitness, your mental fitness, and your spiritual fitness. You get all three of those squared away, you'll be much more likely to survive the fight. Anyway, stay strong, stay frosty, keep your heads on a swivel. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day, and blessings to you and yours.